This school was once considered New York City's worst, lowest reading scores in the state. Kids assaulted teachers more than once a week. One teacher's hair was set on fire. It was around then that Steve Mariotti left his import-export business to teach here.
What's 40 plus 20?
At first, he says, he was a horrible teacher.
I lost control of my classes. A kid got me in a headlock, rubbing my head.
In desperation, he asked the kids, "Why are you doing this to me?"
One kid said, "We did it because we just can't stand you. You are boring." And I said, "Well, was there ever a time when I was a good teacher, when I touched you or taught you something that had any value?" And the same young man said, "The only time you really had value to me was when you told us about your import-export business and how you bring in ladies' shoes at $5 from Agra, India, add $1 on for insurance and freight, take it down to the Lower East Side and sell them for $7, and your income statement would be $126,000.
Oh, he'd remembered all this from the beginning of the term?
He remembered. And here was a guy that had been defined as brain damaged, emotionally upset. People were afraid of him. And he recreated, in total, a Harvard Business School income statement. Does anybody have any ideas for a small business that you could start right now as a kid?
Mariotti changed his way of teaching.
And you can trade with anybody in the room. Now,
he started talking about making money, and suddenly the kids were different.
When you hear people complaining, that's where the big money is. They're suddenly interested in learning, and they come to life in the classroom.
His teaching changed lives.
You found my Gotcha jersey?
In high school, Frank Alameda was floundering until he took Mariotti's course. He graduated and went on to open a sporting goods manufacturing company. Now he employs people from his old neighborhood.
I'm probably the biggest thing that happened to my family because I got people looking up to me, people that I grew up with, just will pat me on my back, will say, "Frank, keep it up. You're the only guy that got something going for you out here." Will there be better days?
Jimmy McNeil started a music business that was worth $1 million.
And we got this other new Ford.
Now he runs Bulldog Bicycles, a high-performance bike company.
How's the back end on that? It's good?
Here he is on the cover of Black Enterprise magazine.
It still gets down to machining costs.
He says he owes all this to what Steve Mariotti taught him in high school.
Okay.
Children that are born into poverty have very unique abilities in business and entrepreneurship. They've got chutzpah, they're street smart, they're comfortable with risk and ambiguity. They have many of the natural characteristics of the great business people.
We think of capitalism as something the privileged practice, but in some ways, capitalism is the big equalizer. Money doesn't care if you're black or white or green.
It's the people at the bottom who need capitalism most, who need the system in which everyone is free to trade and free to pursue money, because capitalism opens up opportunities to climb up that economic ladder.
Somewhere along the lines, Bill Gates started off with zero. Somewhere along the lines, Quincy Jones started off with zero.
My rule for kids.
It's not a color thing. You know, it's an opportunity thing.